It's your boy Crypto Millie back with another one. So the market is getting cooked on a Sunday, but as I stated in the live stream, we'll find a little bit more of what's to come from the market and how the stock market actually opens up on Monday. And I was kind of explaining to you guys in the live stream that if the SPX continues to go down because it already broke the 50-day moving average and also the 200-day, if you add on the fact that it's breaking the super trend, technically and historically, it's always been a bear market from there. The issue here is that there's a lot of bullish sentiment, right, in this space, because many people think that we are a lot more closer to the bottom than a lot of people, actually believe. And the issue here is I don't really think it's the fact that people are looking at this as a bad dip or the bear market is over. I think people are just more concerned, like, do I have the money to actually buy this dip? Can I comfortably buy this dip and still operate in everyday life? And I think that's where the struggle for liquidity is happening within the crypto space. Now, if we start to see, again, the stock market go down even more next week, and we get that Fed minutes, they could come out and do an emergency Fed cut, because there is Fed minutes next week. So you see how this kind of like it plays into like the perfect setup for this to be a flash crash black swan event. Now, we'll know more information on Monday. We really can't come out here and say, well, this is a bear market or this is going to be a bear trap. We will have to see how the market opens up on Monday. The fear and greed index right now is sitting at 27. So there is a lot of fear in the market. And as far as Jasmy, I think at this point, Ethereum is more important than Jasmy, right? Because if Ethereum continues to come and retest some of these bear market lows, you're going to see every ERC20 token across the board go down lower, including Jasmy. So it all comes down to how valuable you guys view this dip, right? If you're bullish on cryptocurrency for the next 4 years, then, like I said, and this is how I'm personally looking at it, right? I didn't kind of accept it. The market, it is what it is. So you won't really hear too much emotion here. Kind of like numb and emotionless to it. The market could go up, the market could go down, but I'm numb to it. It's important to note that the S&P market crashes always ended up down the line explosions, right? So you'll start to see, if you just go and back test the 2008 crash, all right, the S&P dropped 56% over 17 months, but the recovery was 104% over the next 4 years. In 2020, it dropped 35% in just one month, and then it recovered even quicker, sort of like a V-shaped recovery, 120% in under 2 years. Very, very quick. And everybody remembers that 2020 bull run. So as Baron Rothschild said, and you can be, like I said, your perspective is your reality. The time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, even if it's the blood of your own. So you're going to see a lot of noise on like social media. You'll see a lot of like people fishing bear content and depressing content. But in reality, right, if you're truly going to call yourself an investor, these are the times that you bite the bullet. Yes, you could be catching a falling knife, and you learn here, right? You learn from these experiences. But in the totality of the next 4 years, right? Let's say we just go sideways for 6 to 10 months. So we go through a little mini bear market for 6 to 10 months, right? After those 10 months, normally there's gold at the end of the pot, right? You see this explosion. The elephant in the room here is that, do we have money, right? Do people have money to buy this dip, or has this dip caught a lot of people off guard? Maybe not caught them off guard, but because of the tightening of the policy, maybe things feel a little bit restrictive and it's hard to prioritize cryptocurrency. So I really want to know how you guys feel. It's nothing really I can say here. Other than we have to see how the market reacts on Monday, and it's going to start with the stock market. And I said this on the stream. I said I don't understand how people is like, oh, bullish. The bubbles are green, and I'm looking at the stock market getting brutalized, and no, historically there's not been one time when crypto has decoupled from the risk on assets, like free stock market. It hasn't decoupled from risk on assets, right? And we're in a market of uncertainty. And at some point, people will accept it and they'll change their mindset and they'll look at it like, okay, let me start putting away and taking advantage of this opportunity and preparing for QE if it comes. Because what happens if the Fed just comes out and does some type of weird emergency cut? A lot of people are going to be mad about that because they're going to be wishing they bought this dip. I'm not saying about to buy the dip, and this is not financial advice, but in my head, I'm thinking like leaving crypto, leaving risk on assets a few months, maybe a year away from QE is kind of crazy when you think about it, right? And then we go through the history books of legend investors and the ones that had the kahunas, right, to take advantage of this, right? And it depends on your situation and opportunity. I'm not here to judge anyone's situation. It's hard for everybody out there, right? We can't make excuses. We can't complain. We can't be depressed. We wipe ourselves off. We double down and we create a strategy. And sometimes you have to adjust to what the market gives you. Let me know what you think about this chat. Where are we in the psychology of the market? A little bit of hopium here. Like I said, the market could easily open on Monday and bounce. I've seen this before, right? Everybody freaking out on crypto Twitter. I'm not even getting involved with that because I sit back and I think, I'm like, all the greatest investors bit the bullet. It hurt. It was painful. We make mistakes. But if you do have a time frame that allows you to take on this type of risk with crypto, I still believe with everything that's been happening, technically, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, I mean, if you just look at BTC, technically, like we're holding on, all right, we're holding on to the 50-day moving average, which is historically like, it's literally the 50-day moving average is literally the middle of the Gaussian channel, right? I can actually put it on for you guys and you can see for yourself. It's literally right there. Well, not the middle, the top of the Gaussian channel, right? And I mean, we haven't even gotten to the middle of the Gaussian channel where we're retesting. I mean, right now the Gaussian channel is sitting at 76,000. The middle is sitting at about 66,000. We still, I mean, maybe you're front running a bear market and you really believe we're going to be, and that's valid, right? When you look at the economy, you look at the economy, you probably would think like, man, we about to go into a recession. And you hear people talk and you see how people moving in real life. It really feel like we may go into it. It really do feel like that. I don't know how I feel with y'all at, but it kind of feel like people became a little bit more restrictive and tight, like they were living like differently. And now the last 3-4 months since Trump got into president, it really seemed like people didn't tighten up, right? And it became more aware of their finances and where it's going, because this could get ugly. So your perspective is your reality. I'm not here to convince you. I actually just want you guys' opinion so I can see what the sentiment is out there. Let me know in the comments. It's your boy Crypto Millie. I'll see you in the next one.